The agency said on Saturday that the Egypt Air's A320 that crashed into the eastern Mediterranean with 66 people on board had transmitted automatic messages indicating smoke in the cabin. Search continues as Egypt's Navy found human remains, wreckage and personal belongings of passengers floating in the Mediterranean about 290 kilometers north of Alexandria.
France Air Accident Investigation Agency, the BAA, said on Saturday the ill-fated Egypt Air jet sent a series of signals indicating that smoke had been detected on board before it crashed into the Mediterranean on Thursday. A spokesman for the BAA agency said the signals did not indicate what caused the smoke or fire on board the plane, which plunged into the sea with 66 people on board as it was heading from Paris to Cairo. The spokesman said it was far too soon to interpret and understand the cause of the accident as long as the wreckage or the flight data recorders were not found. He said the priority now was to find the two black boxes containing cockpit voice recordings and data readings from the Airbus A320. One aviation source said that a fire on board would likely have generated multiple warning signals, while a sudden explosion may not have generated any, though officials stressed that no scenario, including explosion, is being ruled out. The signals indicated there was smoke in the front toilets near the cockpit. According to the specialized aviation website, Acarus messages read smoke, lavatory smoke, then avionics smoke, referring to the plane's electronic systems, then a fault with the pilot's flight control unit in the cockpit. The warnings began about 3 minutes before air traffic controllers lost contact with the plane. The Acarus data suggested the fire had spread fast, and that might explain the fact that there was no distress call. The Wall Street Journal earlier reported that automated warning messages indicated smoke in the nose of the aircraft and an apparent problem with the flight control system. The messages indicated intense smoke in the front portion of the plane, specifically the lavatory and equipment compartment beneath the cockpit. The error warnings also indicated that the flight control computer had malfunctioned. Greek civil aviation chief said the pilot had mentioned no problem in his last communication before the plane disappeared and the flight had not deviated from its course. The plane disappeared off the radar without emitting any distress signal between the Greek island of Carbothus and the Egyptian coast. It turned sharply twice in Egyptian airspace before plunging 22,000 feet and vanishing from radar screens. The aircraft was carrying 56 passengers and 10 crew, including 30 Egyptian and 15 French nationals, along with citizens of other 10 countries.
The Egyptian Navy and Armed Forces are continuing their search operation for the wreckage in the black boxes of the crashed MS-804 plane. In the latest update, military spokesperson Brigadier Mohammed Samir posted a number of pictures of the recovered debris and some of the passengers' belongings online. The pictures posted on Brigadier Samir's official page showed a charred piece of the plane's body with the Egypt Air on it, several seats and life jackets. Meanwhile, the head of the Egypt Air's investigation team, Captain Ayman al-Muqaddam, discussed with the French delegation the latest developments regarding the search operation and the possible causes of the crash. The French delegation includes 3 investigators from the French Aviation Safety Agency and representative of the plane's manufacturer. Egypt Air Chairman Safwat Musallam said that the radius of the search zone was 40 miles, giving an area of 5,000 square miles, but said it may be expanded. A European satellite spotted a 2-kilometer-long oil in the Mediterranean, about 40 kilometers southeast of the aircraft's last known position. And Egypt Air's company has appointed a foreign expert in the field of aircraft accidents to inform the families of the victims of MS-804 Egypt Air flight of the latest developments concerning plane's debris and some of the passengers' belongings. Egypt Air said in a statement on Saturday the expert attended a meeting attended by Safwat Musallam, head of Egypt Air Holding Company, pilot Ahmed Adel, deputy of Holding Company, pilot Hisham al-Nahas, chairman of Egypt Air Airlines, and victims' families at a hotel close to Cairo Airport. The statement said that collecting body parts could take some time, as well as DNA analysis to identify the victims. It said that the families are being noticed that applications would be filled to collect as much as information as possible concerning the victims. According to the statement, examples of similar accidents were displayed for the families and procedures of collecting passengers' belongings in accordance of global standards. Within the framework, Egypt Air has stressed that the company is committed to provide all means possible to offer help to the families of the victims. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received a phone call from Abu Dhabi Crown Prince Sheikh Mohammed ibn Zayed offering United Arab Emirates condolences for the victims of the crashed Egypt airplane. Presidency spokesperson Ambassador Ala Youssef said Sheikh Mohammed expressed his country's solidarity with Egypt with the framework of strong fraternity and unique cooperation that gathers the two countries. For his part, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi expressed his deep gratitude to Abu Dhabi Crown Prince as well as Emirates supporting stances for Egypt. Also, China's President Xi Jinping offered condolences for both President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and French President François Hollande for the victims of the crashed plane. Chinese media announced on Saturday that Chinese President expressed his deep sorrow for their families. French Foreign Minister Jean-Marc Ayrault met in Paris with the relatives of the passengers who were on board the Egypt airplane. Speaking to reporters after the meeting, Ayrault said no one theory was being favored and that the investigation should be allowed to run its course before the cause could be determined. The French top diplomat added that the reports being circulated gave rise to nearly definitive conclusions, warning of the painful tension caused to families of the victims. He went on to say that France's dual goal is to offer solidarity with the families, but also transparency on the circumstances of the plane's disappearance. The meeting was attended by a number of ambassadors, French prosecutors, and representatives of the office investigating this tragedy. Still with the latest updates of this tragic incident, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a condemnation of a report published by the CNN News Network that suggested that the pilot of the Egypt Air MS-804 plane had committed suicide. In a statement, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ahmed Abu Zaid said that such a report does not respect the feelings of the families of the victims. And the Arab League's permanent representatives and ambassadors of the UN Security Council permanent member states held a meeting at the bloc's headquarters in Cairo on Saturday. At the beginning of the meeting, the attendees observed a minute of silence for the victims of the Egypt Air tragedy. The meeting discussed several issues on the Arab League's agenda, mainly the Palestinian cause ahead of French bid to revive the stalled Israeli-Palestinian peace talks. The delegates also discussed the situation in Libya, Syria, Iraq, and Somalia. In his speech, Arab League Secretary General Nabil al-Arabi stressed the significance of consolidating channels of cooperation and coordination between the Security Council and the Arab League over various issues related to realizing peace, security, and stability. Nabil al-Arabi called on the Security Council to revise its mechanism to allow it to shoulder its responsibilities regarding its dealings with crises that threaten international peace and security, as well as to solve dispute through peaceful means. In this regard, he shed light on the pivotal role played by regional organizations, adding that this has been mentioned both in the UN and the Arab League's charters. Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry tackled mutual cooperation between Egypt and the UN Security Council. The visit by the Security Council delegates came to at Egypt's request, being the current chair of the 15-member council. And a police officer was killed and a conscript was injured when a roadside bomb detonated while their vehicle was passing near Al Arish police station in northern Sinai. A security source said that the injured conscript was being transferred to hospital for treatment. Moving on to some regional news and to Iraq, where at least 4 anti-government protesters were killed and 90 were injured when security forces ejected them from Baghdad's heavily fortified green zone.
Gathered in Baghdad's Sadr city on Saturday as